Net has been popular for 10 years, but just as the official server was announced, a catastrophe struck the world. Countless monsters from the game poured out from strange rifts. Just when everyone thought the world was ending, those who had fused with their game characters appeared. They used the same skills as in the game to repel the monsters and save the world. From then on, players became heroes. Today marks the day the protagonist, Li Haoyue, becomes a player. He should be celebrating, but he can't seem to be happy, because 10 years ago, his father went bankrupt. With no money, he gave up the game after just over a year. So his level and stats are completely terrible. Even worse, after finally awakening, he was fused with a character he made during his middle school cringy phase. As a globally popular game, Legends of the Argana Continent is known for its high freedom. Players can customize their characters' backstories and settings. The character Li Haoyue fused with was heir to a noble family. After his family was wiped out by demons, he became the sole survivor. From then on, he embarked on a path of demon hunting for revenge. Of course, this toe-curling backstory isn't even the worst part. What's worse is that after fusion, a player's personality and aura start resembling that character. Just thinking about it makes Li Haoyue want to die. But those aren't his top concerns right now. He hasn't played for 10 years, so his first priority should be gathering intel. But when he checked the game forums, he discovered 3 years ago, the Elksine base was completely destroyed. It was the only place to change class to Demon Hunter, and also the stronghold and haven for them. Now it's gone. Does that mean the Demon Hunter class was deleted? Of course, no one wanted to play that class 10 years ago anyway. Demon Hunters had low stats and poor growth paths. Even their skills were weak. Compared to other classes, it was hard to level up by killing monsters. You could only gain experience through quest rewards. Only when facing demons could the class unleash unparalleled power. At this moment, Li Haoyue felt hopeless. A trash class is still better than a class that can't even change jobs. Now, even the skill-teaching NPCs were dead. Was he just doomed? Right then, Li Haoyue's eyes caught a piece of information. The latest update would introduce a new demon group among the monsters. Li Haoyue eagerly scrolled through more posts, but didn't find a single mention of demon hunters in action. Could he really be the only demon hunter in this world? If that were true, wouldn't that mean his golden era had arrived? Never seen a more tragic player. Starts off as the server's only unique class, but with all class change NPCs dead. Thankfully, the new update added the demon group, giving Li Haoyue a chance to be useful. Unlike other monsters, demons feed on human negative emotions and control them. Ordinary players can barely damage them, and they can unleash debuffs that plague countless players. So most people avoid fighting them, except for demon hunters. To make a living, Li Haoyue joined a Rift squad, the Werewolf Underground Warehouse, recommended for levels 35 to 40. For Li Haoyue, at level 55, it was actually a good hunting ground. It's been a long time since the game descended into reality. The average level of Rift players had exceeded 200. So finding a squad with similar levels was already lucky. This squad included Melee Tank / DPS Han Xingxue, Melee DPS Chui Xingxuan, Magic DPS Su Jingyan, and Tank / Team Leader Nam Jiming. After introducing themselves, they entered the Rift together. After a brief exploration, they located the werewolves. But what they did next shocked Li Haoyue. The tank didn't guard the back line. He charged straight to the front lines instead. The rest fought without coordination. Is this how people clear rifts nowadays? Just as Li Haoyue was thinking this, more werewolves appeared. The sheer number was clearly overwhelming them. This time, the group was clearly struggling to However, Nam Jiming, the tank captain, walked away without even looking back. The blonde guy in the team instantly panicked. Jiming bro, what are you doing? Hurry back and regroup with us. Nam Jiming turned back coldly to glance at them, as if the fight had nothing to do with him. Just then, a gnoll seized the opportunity and launched a surprise attack on the blonde guy. At the very last moment, Li Haoyue shot a life-saving arrow. But killing one wasn't enough to resolve the crisis. The team's mage had already panicked. Li Haoyue stood behind him, slowly raising his bow. I'll take care of the gnolls approaching. You don't need to worry about cooldowns. Just unleash your ultimate skills. With someone covering him, Mage Su Jingyan gradually calmed down. As his spell finished charging, a barrage of flaming arrows erupted. Under the wide-range magical attack, the gnolls were instantly turned into barbecue. The crisis was resolved, but the blonde guy was still furious. He shouted angrily at Nam Jiming above. Why did you abandon us just now? Hearing his rage, Nam Jiming smirked coldly, blood at his lips, then burst out into maniacal laughter. Blondie was completely enraged. You've got the nerve to laugh? If it weren't for your brother's influence, you'd be nothing. I called you bro out of courtesy. You really thought you mattered, huh? Seeing Nam Jiming growing more arrogant, Li Haoyue started to understand what was really going on. Activating skill, Nemesis trait. When battling demons, your combat power greatly increases. I can't believe it. You're actually a demon. Nam Jiming's status. Fear. Watching the others trapped in illusions, Nam Jiming narrowed his eyes in smug satisfaction. But right at that moment, a figure launched at him at high speed. It was none other than the demon hunter, Li Haoyue. But the surprise attack failed to do any damage. Nam Jiming's armor-like skin couldn't be pierced by a mere dagger. So he changed his angle, aiming for the gaps in the armor. This time, he struck Nam Jiming's nape. But just like before, It failed to pierce through. After 2 failed attempts, Nam Jiming laughed even more wildly. To him, Li Haoyue's effort was no more than striking a stone with an egg. He launched a counterattack while taunting. Humans really are hypocrites. Just a second ago, you were getting along with this guy. Now one move, and you're already drawing your blade. But before he could finish, Li Haoyue's dagger slashed across his face. Feeling the sting on his cheek, Nam Jiming howled in pain. He hadn't expected the weapon to be made of silver. Li Haoyue looked coldly at the fallen Nam Jiming. Shut up. There's no need for us to talk. I don't converse with prey. Feeling the killing intent from Li Haoyue, Nam Jiming still couldn't figure out where it all went wrong. Nam Jiming's body was weak, but he had a powerful younger brother. To avoid being a burden, he put immense pressure on himself. Because of that, the demon had the chance to revive. Everything had gone smoothly until now. Until he encountered Li Haoyue. After enduring several attacks with silver weapons, Nam Jiming's body was reaching its limit. You lunatic, don't you know I share this body's life? Do you want to be a murderer of your own comrade? Li Haoyue stared at the hysterical enemy and let out a cold sneer. I saw through your arrogance long ago, but it means nothing to me. Li Haoyue dashed forward, his dagger slicing across Nam Jiming's throat. At that moment, the demon was completely defeated. Moments later, Nam Jiming slowly regained consciousness. Looking at his unscathed body, wasn't I just possessed by a demon? How is my body completely unharmed? At that moment, Li Haoyue's voice calmly rang out. I told you before, as long as I'm here, everyone can rest easy. That's right. A demon hunter's attacks only affect demons. This is the unique trait of Li Haoyue's profession. One day later, the incident of demons appearing in the rift made it to the forums. Nam Jiming eagerly showed his phone to his younger brother, hoping he would recruit the man who defeated the demon. Nam Jiming's younger brother, Nam Timing, level 368, ranked 11th on the player leaderboard, president of the Jiawan Guild. Regarding the man his brother mentioned, he had absolutely no interest. In his view, that forum post was clearly fabricated nonsense. Nam Jiming looked at his brother seriously. I know you'll believe me, because I was the team leader who got possessed. This level 55 newbie actually rejected a guild invitation from a level 368 top-tier player. This is just absurd. After hearing about his brother's experience in the rift, Nam Timing grew increasingly curious about this newbie, Li Haoyue. A player who could ignore a demon's abnormal status effects must have an exceptionally high mental stat. But he wasn't using magic that requires mental power, but a short sword. As far as Nam Timing knew, there are thousands of professions in the legend of Argana. Yet he had no clue about Li Haoyue's. And most importantly, Li Haoyue's words in the rift that inspired everyone actually changed his brother's mindset. After returning from the rift, Nam Jiming told his brother he wanted to retire as a player and work as an analyst for the Jiawan Guild instead. The demon possession incident made him realize his shortcomings and clarified what he should do next. Nam Timing was very pleased with his brother's change. He didn't want his brother to live under constant pressure, so he agreed to recruit Li Haoyue. However, after sending a slew of invitation messages, Li Haoyue only replied with 3 words, not convenient. This was like being a simp at 2:30 a.m. Nam Jiming was puzzled. Could another guild have invited him? Hearing this, Nam Timing couldn't sit still. The terms offered by Jiawan, the top guild, are unmatched in the country. How could anyone offer better terms? Nam Jiming told him to calm down. It's hard to say for sure now. Ever since the magic tower appeared in the closed city, foreign guilds have been setting up branches in our country. Hot-tempered Nam Timing was immediately displeased. Absolutely impossible. No guild could offer better terms than mine. You know, this contract is something I wouldn't even show to Jiawan's officers. Saying this, he quickly put on his coat to meet Li Haoyue in person. What the brothers didn't expect, however, was that Li Haoyue hadn't even looked at the contract. Since returning from the rift, Li Haoyue's level had risen to 67. Killing wolfmen gave almost no experience, so defeating one demon had leveled him up 12 times. He should have been excitedly lying in bed, planning how to allocate his stat points. But that damned character persona interfered, making his body involuntarily start cleaning. He kept busy until evening. Li Haoyue finally stopped working. That's right. A disciplined and orderly noble. That was the game persona he created during his Chinibu phase, but this also made him realize something. Besides the game's professions and levels, the persona he created also had effects in reality. Thinking of this, a sudden idea flashed in Li Haoyue's mind. Could the persona traits related to abilities also work in reality? Innate magical talent, able to replicate most magic with a single glance. A brilliant mind comparable to an intellectual supercomputer. These were all persona traits he wrote during his Chinibu phase. If these traits could affect reality, wouldn't that mean his cheat code had arrived? With this thought, Li Haoyue quietly picked up his phone and opened a video about player magic, spells that mages need skill points to learn. He could grasp their principles with just one look. This was because, when creating his game character, he added the trait of replicating most magic with a single glance. This newfound cheat made Li Haoyue laugh and curse in excitement. He was certain that with enough mana, he could definitely cast those spells. So he immediately allocated his stat points. 2 points each to strength and agility, 7 points to mana, and the remaining 1 point. Considering the tragic backstory of his character, Yahello put it into luck, though it was just 1 point. From another perspective, his luck stat had doubled. Maybe he'd wake up and find a coin on the ground. With anticipation, he drifted off to sleep. When he opened his eyes again, Yahello was stunned. The luck point he added yesterday worked so fast, he actually received a profession quest. Since the game merged with reality, quests had become extremely rare. The reason was simple. There weren't many NPCs in reality to issue quests. Even regular quests were scarce, yet he received a profession quest. Could he really be the chosen one? After researching profession quests online, Yahello confirmed it was as he thought. So-called profession quests are given to players of the same profession. Doesn't this mean he's the only demon hunter left? But thinking back to when he chose this profession, he felt at ease. Endless, meaningless grinding. Living in ruins, no normal person would choose this profession. But that was all in the past. For now, let's check what the quest is. Meanwhile, at the Edo main game response agency, Bow Branch, an organization dedicated to handling game updates and gathering intelligence for players, was supposed to be off hours, but was unusually busy. Because the game had just released an update. This update added Count Asura's castle in the Rift, the Count's territory and its outskirts, along with some high-level demon monsters. Additionally, the biggest change was the addition of a named monster, Count Asura, level 430. Seeing this, the staff were dumbfounded. The top-ranked player was only level 403, clearly designed to prevent players from succeeding. Right now, the top-ranked player is only level 403. This clearly makes it impossible for players to clear the content. Just as everyone was falling into despair over this, Yahello also began his class quest. He had already completed 1 demon hunt, but what broke him was the repeated task to train his weakened body. The quest required him to run 20 kilometers a day, do 1,000 push-ups, 500 pull-ups, and 300 burpees. After just 1 day of training, his muscles were twitching like Emperor Roma on a full battery. And to make it worse, the task had to be completed for 7 days straight. But what comforted him was, the quest rewarded him with 4 permanent stat points. In the game, stat-boosting items are extremely expensive, and often not even to gain 4 points in one go without leveling up was like winning the lottery. Feeling satisfied, he returned home. As soon as he turned on the TV, a news report came on about a new rift. This time, the new boss, Count Asura, is both a demon and a vampire, and he's level 430. Probably the hardest boss in history. Many guilds have said they won't attempt the rift lightly. Staring at the news on the screen, Yahello felt a massive headache. For most players, demon-type monsters are extremely difficult to deal with. They grow stronger the longer they fight, and players constantly trigger abnormal status effects. Normally, a level 430 monster has nothing to do with someone like him at level 67. But damn it, his system gave him a class quest to hunt a vampire. And right now, the only vampire around is Count Asura. The system's basically sending him to die. A level 67 noob's class quest is to defeat a... And the worst part, his body is itching to go try it. Yahello was completely defeated by this stupid noble persona. After doing some research, Yahello found the fastest way to get to the rift was through the Tower of Magic Stones. Because a magical portal exists there, it can instantly transport to any location. This is why major guilds worldwide establish branches in one country. Meanwhile, the area around the Magic Tower is already crowded with media outlets. As the top-ranked local Jowan guild, Lon Timing's team is the first to arrive here. As soon as they appear, reporters swarm around them. However, the interview is only halfway through when the media suddenly rush to the other side. It turns out that level 399, Luos, the second-ranked player, has arrived with his dazzling guild. The existence of the Magic Tower draws major guilds from around the world to the 5 nations. But as a local guild, Zhaoan's influence is steadily declining. Lan Zhiming notices his younger brother's displeasure and steps forward to comfort him, saying there's no need to rush. As long as they move forward steadily, they'll be fine. His brother's words lift Lan Timing's spirits considerably. But speaking of which, how is Mr. How you doing? Didn't you say you'd reconnect with him? Lan Zhiming gives an awkward smile. I was going to contact him after revising the agreement. But then the official website suddenly released an You spoke so highly of him. Yahello is on a bus heading to the Magic Tower. Although the vehicle isn't very fast, he isn't wasting time. So far, he's watched 100 videos about magic, and he's finally grasped the meaning of magic. Casting magic involves 3 steps: exploring magical energy, manipulating magical energy, and then activating it. As a flame suddenly bursts from his hand. He didn't expect that just thinking about it would actually unleash magic. The bus driver, seeing someone playing with fire, yells that it's dangerous, and tells him to put it out immediately. Yahello quickly retracts the magic, and opens his skill panel. But the next second, he's stunned. The spell he just cast isn't on his skill panel. Normally, acquired skills would appear immediately. Could it be a system glitch? Or perhaps his magic isn't a skill at all? Yahello doesn't have time to figure it out. As the bus reaches its stop, he decides to enter the tower first. Arriving at the portal, Li Haoyu is stunned once again. He can actually sense the magical fluctuations of the portal, and he's certain he could create a portal. In fact, such magic is even simpler than the spell he cast on the bus. Li Haoyu is about to place his hand on it to feel it, when someone suddenly bumps into him. Caught off guard, the person's cargo pushes Li Haoyu into the portal. Now inside the rift, Li Haoyu, dressed in a suit, looks grim, all because of that damned noble persona. He prioritized elegance over warmth, not even wearing a down jacket in such cold weather. With a sullen face, Li Haoyu approaches a rift, territory outskirts, suitable for levels 240 to 270. Collapse progress, 9.7%. Finally here, damn it. I hope it's warmer inside. If skill isn't enough, cheats will make up for it. At just level 67, he dares to challenge a level 240 monster map. The demon hunter plays at the highest stakes right from the start. Stepping into the territory outskirts, Li Haoyu feels a fierce cold wind. But compared to this biting cold night, a pack of level 230 wolves is far more concerning. Watching the approaching wolf pack, Li Haoyu suddenly flashes a fierce smile. Though my level is only 67, as your natural predator, lackeys of the Earl's house, you've chosen the wrong target to provoke. Today, I'll make you understand the fear of being prey. At the same time, not far from the map, a team led by Leone Bellacci from the Baiata Guild is hunting the wolf pack. A level 348 berserker against level 230 monsters. It's a complete one-sided slaughter. Yet Bellacci finds it strange. No matter how many they kill, the wolves never cry out in pain or groan. Suddenly, a howl rings out behind them, startling everyone. Judging by the sound, this isn't an ordinary wolf howl. It sounds more like a monster's scream of fear. To figure out what's happening, Bellacci immediately turns and On the other side, Li Haoyu, with his cheats, is no longer playing fair. With an inherent advantage against demons, he's even toying with magic. Through magical energy detection with his sword, Li Haoyu can effortlessly cast a magical flame potion. This high-damage magic, combined with his advantage, allows him to one-shot a wild wolf with a single strike, and the flames also serve to intimidate the wolf pack. By the time Bellacci arrives, the ground is littered with burning wolf corpses, and in the middle of the corpses stands a white-haired man, casually sipping tea. Elegant, simply too elegant, entering the rift in a suit and dress shoes, and drinking tea amidst a sea of flames. It utterly shocks everyone. A yellow-haired member of the team guesses he might be a streamer. Boss Bellacci thinks the same. Otherwise, how could one person take down so many wolves? She steps forward, telling Li Haoyu to leave immediately, saying this isn't a place for ordinary people like him. Li Haoyu glances at her like she's an idiot, then continues sipping his tea as if nothing happened. This behavior infuriates the hot-tempered Bellacci, but just as she's about to lose it, danger strikes again. Countless bandits suddenly appear. Like the wolves, they're also level 230 demon monsters. Seeing this, Bellacci immediately rallies her team to fight. In berserker mode, she's like a force of nature. In a single clash, countless minions fall to her blade. However, no matter how strong one person is, they can't overcome the sheer number of monsters. The bandits that rushed out were just the vanguard. In the rear, countless archers are waiting for their chance, facing the dense horde of monsters. Even a level 300+ Bellacci is momentarily at a loss. And in this tense moment, a lazy yawning voice sounds from behind them. What the hell is this? How are you still in the mood to drink tea? Li Haoyu ignores them and keeps stroking the lid of his cup. The bandits launch a full-scale attack. Countless arrows rain down on the group, just as everyone is about to panic. Li Haoyu, holding the cup lid, seems to enter a state of unity with it. From exploring the cup's magical energy to manipulating it, it takes him only a moment. But he hesitates on the activation. If his magic is a skill, his level definitely can't handle such a large spell. But if his magic isn't a skill, that's a different story. Li Haoyu hesitates only briefly. The next second, his body surges with immense magical energy. The cup lid slowly rises from his hand. In an instant, it transforms into a massive magical shield. The light is so bright, no one can keep their eyes open. When the surroundings finally calm, everyone stares ahead in stunned silence. A towering stone wall has appeared out of nowhere, blocking all the archers outside. Bellacci is utterly shocked. I've never heard of a skill that can create such a massive wall. Could this be alchemy? No, this isn't a skill. It's magic. With just a thermos lid, he blocked thousands of bandit demons. The large-scale magic Li Haoyu casually unleashed is like a sharp blade, completely blowing everyone's minds. But before anyone can comprehend what kind of spell this is, another bandit troop suddenly attacks from the flank. Li Haoyu calmly looks up. Looks like afternoon tea will have to wait. Bellacci has no idea what he's talking about. She still thinks Li Haoyu is just an alchemist using props. She shouts for her team to fight and tells Li Haoyu to hide behind her. But Li Haoyu doesn't even acknowledge her. He reaches behind his back. The next second, a silver sword glowing with blue light appears in his hand. Facing the ferocious bandits, Li Haoyu draws the sword and strikes in one fluid motion. A single hit instantly kills a monster. The fighting minions are completely stunned. Since when did our guild have such a powerful archer? Of course, when it comes to sheer shock, it has to be Bolucci standing beside him. But as a berserker, the pride in her blood only leaves her briefly stunned, and she quickly regains her composure. However, Li Haoyu's next move leaves her jaw dropped and completely frozen in place. A flaming arrow shoots from Li Haoyu's hand. Bolucci feels like her brain is about to fry. What class is he exactly? Archer, mage, or alchemist? Who the hell can tell me where I am? Who am I? With Li Haoyu's intervention, the bandits are quickly wiped out, but Bolucci isn't happy at all. Li Haoyu's cold attitude leaves her speechless. But speaking of which, though it's a bit embarrassing, she has to admit, without Li Haoyu, her team would likely have been wiped out halfway through. Though his strength seems like that of a top-ranked player, as far as she knows, no one on the leaderboard matches him. And just looking at his profile, this guy is actually kind of handsome. Bolucci is caught in a daze when Li Haoyu suddenly turns his head. This makes Bolucci's face flush red. She quickly turns away, her heart racing. What are you looking at? Seriously, you ignored me earlier, and now you want to invite me for tea? Well, if you insist, I might just humor you. Bolucci is muttering to herself. When Li Haoyu suddenly calls out to her, she shyly turns back. Why are you calling me? Even if you stare at me like that, I won't share my tea with you. Bolucci is stunned. Her mood at this moment is as delicate as snowflakes falling in a forest. At the same time, the camera crew outside the rift is in a frenzy. The newly added territory outskirts have hundreds of rifts, and only by clearing them all can they move to the next map. For this, major guilds from around the world have joined the effort. The most favored are Dazzling and Jowan. The media has been camping at these two rift entrances to get the first scoop on the guild that clears a rift first. But to their surprise, the first team to clear a rift has no media around. If not for a drone accidentally capturing Bolucci and her team emerging from the rift, no one would have known someone had already cleared it. The production team, upon receiving the news, quickly sends reporters to cover it. No one expected the 32nd ranked Bada guild to be the first to emerge. A quick-footed minion beats everyone else to the scene, spotting Li Haoyu alone. Sure enough, he immediately senses gossip. Hello, can I interview you? You look like someone from our country. What's your relationship with the local Bada guild? Listening to the minion's endless questions, Li Haoyu's face darkens. Get lost. I'm freezing to death here. Never seen such a badass protagonist. At just level 67, he carried a bunch of level 300 plus pros, and even secured the first. The rift entrance is now swarmed with reporters, but as the guild leader, Bolucci doesn't want to say a word. Recalling the scenes in the rift, Li Haoyu breezed through effortlessly, practically sweeping the rift, leaving her no face at all. Everyone is baffled by Bolucci's inexplicable outburst. Boss, that guy already went home. Hearing this, Bolucci's anger can no longer be contained. She roars like a hound in the wind. At the same time, the second team to clear emerges. It's the Jowan guild, led by Long Timing. But compared to Bolucci, their team suffered heavy losses. Hearing that Bolucci got the first clear, Long Timing is shocked. But before he can ask, Bolucci mutters something and leaves. Back at their base, Long Timing is fuming. Just one step behind that woman, and she acts so smug. And after getting the first clear, she said, what's left besides Jowan? This is practically an insult to our country. Lan Jiming tells his brother to calm down. He suggests Bolucci might have met another person from their country in the rift, because she mentioned it during an interview. This makes Lan Timing even more restless. Who the hell is that person she mentioned? That I don't know. But a person from our country on par with Jowan. I can think of one. On the other side, after returning home, Li Haoyu takes a nice hot bath. She originally wanted to get a good sleep, but that damned clean freak persona makes her start tidying up. Though mentally exhausted, her body involuntarily starts doing chores. Li Haoyu is on the verge of a break. After all this, she's no longer sleepy, so she checks the rewards from this rift. Most of the loot is equipment above level 100, which she can't use yet, but her level has risen to 86. Clearing the hardest rift in history and gaining 19 levels is actually modest. It was really dangerous back then. Speaking of which, magic consumes mana more efficiently than skills, and she doesn't have mana regeneration gear or accessories. If she hadn't met that red-haired woman, she might have been in danger. As her body suddenly says, this failure is my incompetence. Cold sweat instantly runs down Li Haoyu's back. She knows her character's persona from creation. This guy is definitely not someone who's humble. Yet now he's saying something like this. Li Haoyu has a bad feeling, and she's right. She guessed it. Her body slowly stands up. The next rift is the Earl's Territory. I can't waste time now. If I can't rely on magic, then I'll start learning martial arts. Besides, I've found a suitable study subject. If I can mimic that woman's movements, I can definitely boost my combat strength. But everything starts with the basics. As her body involuntarily opens the task panel, Li Haoyu is on the brink of collapse. That damned body-strengthening task. You're not seriously doing this again, are you? Big bro, it's 2:30 in the morning. Can't you let me rest? What's it like to have an uncontrollable body at 2:30 a.m., exhausted to death? Yet her body is still exercising downstairs in the neighborhood. This is just absurd. Some might not get this setup. For example, you create a game character with a cool and aloof persona. Afterward, you want to eat a delicious ice cream. but your hands reach for the outhouse instead. Back to the point. Li Haoyu, exercising at midnight, suddenly receives an urgent broadcast. The current clear rate for the territory outskirts rifts has reached 95%. They could soon move to the next phase. But according to the latest intel, the collapse progress of the unentered Earl's territory rift has suddenly jumped to 60%. If this continues, there's a high risk of total collapse. As this news breaks, players guarding the rift entrances are dumbfounded. Those stronger monsters in rifts can shorten collapse time. This jump was too sudden. Could there be some incredible monster inside? The officials haven't given a clear answer. In fact, they don't know why the collapse progress increased. But one thing is certain. If the rift collapse reaches 100%, then all the monsters inside will come pouring out. At that point, both civilians and players will lose their lives. Looking at the news on her phone, Li Haoyu fell into deep thought. It's no surprise no one knows the reason for this unprecedented event, because it's information known only to the Demon Hunter Sanctuary. But now that place has been completely destroyed. Looks like she has to act quickly. Vampires distribute their power through their blood. Earlier, it had given blood to monsters on the outer perimeter of its territory. As those monsters were defeated, that blood naturally returned to the original host. Then it probably redistributed the blood again to monsters within the Earl's estate. That's why the monsters in the rift became stronger, causing the collapse rate to spike drastically. Wait, no. If that's the case, then directly attacking the Earl's estate could immediately trigger the collapse of the Earl's castle. While Li Haoyu was still pondering this, her body suddenly grabbed the coat by the door on its own. A squill of the Earl. Calling you an Earl is a disgrace to the title. I will now deliver judgment on one who has tarnished the nobility's name. Watching herself stuff tea leaves into her pockets non-stop, Li Haoyu wanted to cry. Bro, are you seriously not sleeping? Even a vampire rift that level 300 veterans dread. The man was just relaxing inside drinking tea. With just a wave of his hand, countless monsters became castles, all because he had mastered a mana-free spell. Reverse magic. Ever since the collapse rate of major guilds had gone on high alert. Compared to the 200 rift entrances on the outer perimeter of the first layer, there were only about 30 rifts in the Earl's estate. That forced many guilds to team up for raids. However, EXP and loot were divided by contribution. So although they teamed up in name, they were secretly competing fiercely. At the edge of the rift, the Jiawen Guild was still preparing for battle. Analyst Nam Jiming brought news. Radiance Guild and Unified World were guarding the northern front. Basaka had clashed with Second Sun and Wandering Bard to the west. Competition among the guilds was clearly escalating. At that moment, a group of people approached from afar. The man in front grinned, holding a magic spear. What a coincidence, running into Jiawen right at the rift we want. His name was Jimu Hujin, level 376, ranked 6th on the player leaderboard. His Lightning Guild ranked 4th worldwide. Lon Timing sneered back at him. Looking for trouble, are you? Think Jiawen has the strength to deal with you? The air was thick with tension and hostility. It seemed like a fight would break out before entering the rift. But in the next second, the two, who were just at each other's throats, greeted each other like old buddies. Maybe that's just how bromance greetings work. With that, the top-ranked guilds all entered the Earl's estate. The northern zone was tackled by Radiance and Unified World. The southern zone was handled by Basaka, Second Sun, and Wandering Poet. And the eastern zone was led by Jiawen and Lightning Guild together. Deep inside the rift, Li Haoyu sat elegantly in a chair sipping tea. Compared to the top players fighting monsters, she looked more like she was on vacation. After learning about the dangers of mana depletion, Li Haoyu began researching more efficient ways to fight with mana. Her teacup was the result of that search. A magical form created through transmutation. A magic based on alchemy skills. At first, she used nearby stones to create cups and tables. But the more elaborate the decor, the more intricate the details, the greater the mana cost. So that method ended up being completely inefficient. But while thinking over it, she discovered something else. That restoring things costs nearly no mana. Li Haoyu called this new skill reverse magic. Meanwhile, deep inside the Earl's estate, the Jiawen Guild, led by Nan Taiming, had already broken through. As a barbarian, she was unmatched in brute force sweeping attacks, but she didn't reach this far by pure strength. Since entering the rift, she had barely encountered 10 monsters, and it wasn't just her. Even the Lightning Guild encountered the same situation. This left Nan Taiming deeply puzzled. Just then, Nam Jiming sent a sudden message from outside the rift. Timing, I've pretty much analyzed the dungeon. Where are you right now? Nan Timing looked around and replied to his brother. It looks like a mix between ruins and a plaza. Why? What's wrong, bro? What? You're actually in the plaza? Get out of there now. Before the words had even finished, Nan Timing didn't even have time to ask why. The sound of galloping hooves suddenly roared behind him. He turned around and immediately frowned. Damn it, they're level 350 knights. A group of demon knights that even level 300 plus veterans couldn't handle. And one man had once wiped them out with a flick of his finger. When the level 350 demon knights appeared, players from both Jiawen and Lightning Guilds, it was flat ground here. The knights' destructive power would double. Even tanks would take fatal damage. And worst of all, the cavalry was closing in from all directions. The players had no way out. Just as everyone prepared to fight to the death, a surge of immense magic erupted behind Nantiming. The next second, countless towering stone pillars descended from the sky, landing silently and encircling everyone. The sudden development left everyone stunned, and right then, Li Haoyue strolled in with one hand in his pocket, tilting his head slightly, looking every bit the king of cool. The moment they saw him, Nam Jiming couldn't help but shout his name. Even Nan Taiming was overwhelmed with excitement. So he's the one. Kumiko Kazuma also glanced at Li Haoyue, shocked deep inside. How much magic power does this guy have? Why is he walking in with dress pants and leather shoes? Who even is he? But right now, the priority wasn't staring at Li Haoyue. It was clearing the demon knights breaking through the pillars. That's right. The pillars summoned by Li Haoyue didn't kill the knights completely, but they crippled their mobility. Seeing that, Nan Taiming burst into laughter. He was in desperate need of a good fight to vent his earlier frustration. Activating the barbarian's inherent skill, Rage, Nan Taiming charged in like a player with the ball, leading the charge into the enemy. At the same time, Kumiko Kazuma unleashed his magic lance and joined the fray. The two guild leaders' moves ignited everyone's fighting spirit. They all charged at the demon knights. Compared to the intense battle cries of the players, Li Haoyue's side was far more quiet. He simply raised his hand and hooked his finger slightly. Reversal magic activated instantly. The surrounding stone pillars shattered into boulder-like war beasts. The live streamer in the distance was already cursing because of Li Haoyue. Even the audience in the chat went silent, looking at the still-breathing demon knight on the ground. Li Haoyue pulled out his silver dagger, but just as he was about to deliver the finishing blow, he stopped. Don't get me wrong. It's not that I've gone soft. It's just that I noticed the durability stat on this thing, and suddenly didn't want to waste it. At that moment, a curious idea flashed through his mind. What if I alter the dagger's form and restore it again afterward? Would the durability reset too? He remembered when he once turned a rock into a teacup. The teacup gained a durability stat, and when reverted, the rock lost its durability once more. If restore literally means reset, then I can just keep changing the weapon's form and restoring it again, and the durability would never wear out. With that thought, Li Haoyue immediately tested it, and just as he expected, the dagger's durability remained after restoration. Even someone like Grid from the next server would cry seeing this cheat. Moments later, Zhaoan and Lightning Guilds finished their kills too. Looking at Li Haoyue sipping tea leisurely, Lan Timing's eyes were filled with excitement. After witnessing his strength firsthand, Lan Timing wanted him even more. But he wasn't the only one who saw Li Haoyue's power. So did Lightning Guild's Kumiko Kazuma. He too revealed a greedy gaze toward Li Haoyue. But the question remained. Would the terms offered by Zhaoan Guild be enough to impress Li Haoyue this time? Turning down a major guild live on a global broadcast, Li Haoyue's style points shot through the roof. Just as the demon knight was dealt with, the media lurking at the rift swarmed out like sharks smelling blood. They rushed in all at once, bombarding Li Haoyue with endless questions, pushing him to the edge. And just then, Lan Timing squeezed through the crowd and stood right in front of Li Haoyue. Hello, I'm Lan Timing from Zhaoan. Let's get straight to the point. I messaged you not long ago. But before he could finish, the already irritated Li Haoyue exploded with anger. Get out of my way. What a bunch of disrespectful pests. The entire scene was broadcast globally in real time. In an instant, Li Haoyue's domineering attitude trended worldwide. He almost overshadowed the flashiest guild, Yaoyan, who had just cleared the dungeon. At that moment, in Yaoyan Guild's base, Guildmaster Luo Si was watching Li Haoyue's battle footage on repeat. The two unlucky subordinates he summoned were about to lose it. He's just a guy with some decent skills. Do you really need to drag us out here in the middle of the night for hours? If you like him so much, why not just recruit him already? Or are you jealous of that guy? There are already plenty of reports about us. Don't be too greedy, boss. But for these two muscle-brained subordinates, Luo Si didn't bother asking for opinions anymore. He just told them to leave. Shortly after they left, the sound of high heels echoed inside the tent. So amazing. It feels like magic, but a bit different. This man is quite interesting. The person who entered was Jesse Haninas, a mage from the Radiance Guild. He is level 397, ranked 4th among all players. He's also the only mage to have received a class-specific quest. Meanwhile, Jimu Hujin from the Lightning Guild received top orders. Recruit Li Haoyue at all costs. That's right. Besides the Rift Raid progress, Li Haoyue had become the hottest topic among players. Looking at the news on his phone, the media just kept hyping him up non-stop. I'm practically being made into a god. Damn it, it just won't end. But that's not the point right now. The real focus is the loot from the Rift. This is the first time Li Haoyue has obtained a rare item since becoming a player. The Blood Curse necklace. But its effects are sealed. To find out what it does, it must be unsealed. Put simply, it's a blind box item. But as far as he knows, most players would just throw this kind of item away. Because compared to the cost of unsealing the curse, the chance of getting a good attribute is very low. However, what no players realize is, cursed items have a true purpose. They can be used as offerings in a demon hunter's exorcism ritual. That's right, as one of the core skills of a demon hunter. The basic effect of the exorcism ritual is to target the demon without harming the host. But with an offering, it's different. It literally invites the demon to attend the ritual. In simple terms, it drags the demon directly into the user's consciousness. Unlike possessed individuals under status effects, within the user's consciousness during the ritual, all favorable conditions belong to the exorcist. Thinking of this, Li Haoyue smiled smugly. Count Dracula. You better wash your neck and wait for me. Just how dramatic is this boss's entrance? Even the gatekeeper statue that no one dared approach. The man just flicked his finger, and the statue crumbled instantly. As the rift in the Earl's estate was gradually cleared, what Li Haoyue predicted began to happen. The vampire Earl recalled all his blood-based powers. The collapse rate of the Earl's castle instantly hit 100%. In just a single minute after the monsters appeared in reality, more than 200 players around the base had already fallen. Just as everyone was about to fall into panic, that man appeared. Li Haoyue, in a suit, hands in pockets, walked elegantly toward the Earl's castle. No one dared approach. Seeing the massive stone statue at the gate, Li Haoyue snorted lightly. What an eyesore. As soon as he spoke, the statue seemed to understand his mockery. Its eyes glowed red as it awakened. All the players were stunned by the scene. The statue raised a 40-meter greatsword and swung it down at Li Haoyue. Just as the massive blade was about to fall, Li Haoyue raised an arm and lightly curled a finger. The statue instantly crumbled to rubble. Everyone was dumbfounded by what they saw. Aside from the statue's crash, there was complete silence. A stone construct. For someone like Li Haoyue with reconstruction magic, destroying it was child's play. At the same time, Radiance Guild also heard the commotion from the castle. Jesse the mage guessed it was the work of that man. Ignoring the captain's orders, he immediately chased after him with magic. The gatekeeper is down. Everyone, charge in. For glory. Li Haoyue looked speechless. His previous action had become a signal flare for all the players. But maybe that's not so bad. At least it raised everyone's morale. But why is the mission system sending me a message at this moment? A new entry appeared in Li Haoyue's class quest. Make the enemy experience the fear of being hunted, even after killing the demon knight. He was only level 100, but Count Dracula was level 430. Li Haoyue was clearly panicking inside, but her body bravely charged into the castle. This damn noble persona, always flirting with death at every moment. She arrived at the Vampire Count's banquet hall. Li Haoyue was immediately drawn to the portraits covering the walls. That's right, these seemingly narcissistic portraits actually hide hidden traps. They'll trigger abnormal states for players. If not dealt with quickly, all you can do is retreat. That's also why the Radiant Guild didn't choose to enter through the front door, but for demon hunter Li Haoyue. That trick was completely useless, totally ineffective. Along the way, all Li Haoyue did was mock the vampires' ugly faces and complain about the castle's terrible layout. Anyone watching would think she came to buy real estate. Before long, she arrived at the door of the central room of the castle, smelling the foul stench of blood coming from it. Li Haoyue knew the final boss was definitely inside, but just as she was about to step forward, a woman in a 69 pose suddenly appeared in front of her. Humph, Mr. Magic. Could you satisfy my curiosity and tell me what magic you used? Li Haoyue's face turned dark. She grabbed Jessie and slammed her down. Don't you know? Proper manners are required when asking for guidance. Jessie was stunned. So that metallic smell earlier. Turns out it was this chick's iron will. And at that moment, a wave of blood energy suddenly filled the room. The Vampire Count's eerie voice came from behind the two. I was wondering who dared wake me. Turns out it's just two ants. Despicable humans. Are you ready to become my dinner? A mere level 100 human, daring to challenge a level 430 boss with just a necklace. The moment the Vampire Count appeared, a powerful aura filled the room. Jessie was already ready to run. Yet Li Haoyue calmly took out a blood-cursed cigarette. Disgusting, lowly vampire. I'll teach you the sin of falsely calling yourself nobility. As she spoke, Li Haoyue had already begun the exorcism ritual. The Vampire Count still thought she was bluffing. He immediately tried to but in the next second, he froze. He found himself in a mysterious, desolate realm. Turning to look, Li Haoyue sat gracefully in a high place, gazing at him with surprising intimacy. The vampire let out a crazed laugh. So you're the type that plays tricks, human. But such illusions. I'll destroy both it and you. He unleashed a blast of fiery power. The place where Li Haoyue sat became a sea of flames. The vampire scoffed coldly. I had hoped you could amuse me. But you turned to ashes. Yet before he could finish, Li Haoyue reappeared before him completely unharmed. Is that really what you see? Take a closer look. Who's the one that's actually dead? The vampire stared hard at Li Haoyue. The next moment, cold sweat poured down. Beneath Li Haoyue's feet was his own lifeless corpse. A surge of fear overwhelmed him. At the same time, back in the real world outside Li Haoyue's consciousness, the Vampire Count flailed wildly in madness. Jessie, who was planning to flee, now stood in shock. What's going on? Mr. Magic didn't even move, but the vampire went down. That's right, this is the true power of a demon hunter's innate skill. Though dragging enemies into one's consciousness carries risk of possession, for someone with a death-defying persona like Li Haoyue, Her mental strength is beyond what any demon can shake. At this moment, the fear debuff normally affecting players had actually appeared on the boss. New class quest completed. Now it's time to wrap this up. Jessie, like a curious child, kept pestering Li Haoyue about how she did it. Li Haoyue ignored her. She picked up the dagger and walked toward the vampire. But when she stabbed, she didn't even scratch the vampire's foreskin. Damn it, she almost forgot. There was a level gap of over 300 between them. That kind of damage to the vampire was basically just a tickle. Li Haoyue turned to Jessie. You finish it. Jessie was stunned at first, then suddenly became extremely excited. Mr. Magic, you could have killed him yourself. Why let me do it? Li Haoyue was on the verge of mental collapse. Damn it, if I could kill him, would I leave it to you? But he still kept a serious face. Jessie thought she'd annoyed Li Haoyue with her chatter. She immediately cast a spell at the vampire, mumbling as she did. Mr. Magic, are you teaching me how to comprehend new spells? Li Haoyue was speechless as a powerful spell descended. The vampire count was reduced to ash. At the same time, Li Haoyue's class quest was completed. A series of level-up notifications popped up, but come to think of it, this mage was quite impressive. Even in a weakened state, she could still one-shot the vampire. Of course, that was only because the vampire was under a debuff. Still, this woman looked strong. Why was she acting so dumb? What was she putting in her mouth? Was that vampire ashes? Just then, a group from the Lightning Guild suddenly barged in. Jessie, are you okay? Did you defeat the vampire? Who's the guy next to you? Hearing her teammates, Jessie finally remembered she actually knew Li Haoyue's name. She then looked at Li Haoyue respectfully. Though I know nothing of math, I'll do my best. My name is Jessie Heninas. May I know your name? The famously arrogant Jessie, suddenly acting humble, left her teammates dumbfounded. At the same time, Li Haoyue's impression of her improved. Though not good with logic, she did make the effort to change her arrogance. As a reward, he decided to tell her his name. Li Haoyue calmly looked at Jessie and said, Remember it, I am Li Haoyue. What's it like having a... Ever since Li Haoyue cleared the vampire count's rift, her story has been covered by major media outlets. Naturally, this also reached the ears of her three sisters. That's right, Li Haoyue has three adoptive older sisters. They grew up loving food, sleep, and bullying Dodo. And Li Haoyue was Dodo. These family members gave her endless love growing up, so she really didn't want to answer their calls. Because she knew once she picked up, she'd be in for a scolding. But could not answering really save her? Obviously not. The knocking at the door already answered that. Bracing herself, she opened the door. 4 women stood before her. Big sis Li Inhui, second sis Li Jiyu, third sis Li Yilin, and her adorable little niece. Li Haoyue adjusted her tie and said elegantly, to avoid disturbing the neighbors, Please, sisters, calm down. As soon as she said that, her third sister almost exploded. Who is this gentlemanly man? Is that really our silly little brother? At the same time, at the Jiaowen Guild headquarters, Nam Jiming had completely given up on recruiting Li Haoyue. Timing. Li Haoyue's all over the news now. Would she still join our guild in this situation? Nan Timing wasn't as pessimistic as her brother. No matter what, we still have the best shot, right? After all, we even have her phone number, and also an excuse to contact her. Don't forget, the loot we got at the Woja Manor Plaza. We only got it thanks to Mr. Haoyue. So giving her a rightful share, that's what you call proper manners. Nan Jiming suddenly realized. So how much do you plan to give her? Bro, what nonsense are you talking? I'm being serious. Even if we fail to recruit Miss Haoyue, we should still leave her a good impression. So this time's loot. Of course I'll give her 100%. Nan Jiming didn't expect his brother to go this all out. He immediately called Li Haoyue. However, at that moment, Li Haoyue wasn't in the mood to answer. Her mischievous niece and her 3 strange sisters were giving her a headache. As for her changed appearance and aura, each sister had a different reaction. But no matter what, family is still family. When they found out her brother had fused with a game character, the 3 sisters' biggest concern was whether becoming a player would be dangerous, especially after seeing the news. And Li Haoyue wasn't answering their calls. The sisters were deeply worried. This made Li Haoyue feel a bit warm inside. She wanted to apologize for making them worry. But that damn noble persona spoke before she could stop herself. I was born a demon hunter. There's no need for you 3 sisters to worry. And just like that, the air turned so awkward it could carve out a 3-bedroom apartment, ending only with a lovely afternoon tea. Before leaving, the 3 sisters not only told her to stay safe, but also reminded her to save money. Upon hearing that, Li Haoyue suddenly realized, after becoming a player, she'd never claimed her rift-clearing bonuses. Excited, she opened her phone to check her reward. But when she saw the number, she almost fainted on the spot. 10,000, 10,000. She had actually earned 110 billion. The genius magic girl of Yahello actually studied medieval etiquette, just for a man. Was it out of thirst for knowledge, or because of his juicy peeling feet? Perhaps only Jessie herself knew the real answer. Ever since she greeted Li Haoyue once, she started watching etiquette videos, day and night without rest. Even her bestie had no idea what she was up to. Was that elegant man really that charming? But what they didn't know was that right now Li Haoyue was basking in the joy of revenge. Aside from the huge rift bonus, if it were before, she probably would have tossed that trash item. But now it was different. Ever since she used the blood curse necklace, like a hunger bottle, she discovered what she thought would disappear still remain, and the curse sealed within her was perfectly lifted. Li Haoyue didn't expect that an exorcism ritual could substitute purification. But this joy of revenge also brought her trouble. She was so thrilled she couldn't sleep, literally couldn't sleep. She spent the entire night thinking how to spend it. Normally speaking, if you want to keep progressing, first thing is to upgrade your gear. But after killing the count, she leveled up 34 times in a row. Just a few days ago, she was only level 55. Considering her leveling speed, spending tens of billions on gear now would be a terrible deal. And most importantly, the mana regeneration items she wanted were barely in stock, and the prices were outrageous. The troubles of a billionaire. This is really giving me a headache. Meanwhile, at the AU branch, staff are analyzing the pillar magic Li Haoyue used. Some say it's alchemy. Others say it's impossible. Such massive pillars have already surpassed magic limits. The whole meeting room fell into heated debate, and just then, a message drew everyone's attention. The game received an update. A new region was added, the Asura Islands. Back when it was still a game, the Asura Islands were known as the Treasure Islands. Though no one had actually found it, everything from that island was said to be rare and priceless, because it truly was a land of fantasy. But unexpectedly, that island was now updated into reality. As soon as the breaking news spread, it was reported by many media outlets. At the same time, another piece of news stirred up the player community. Over there, the Magic Tower was about to host its regular seminar this week. Among the invited players, Jessie was already on her way to the Magic Tower. Looking at the news on her phone, Li Haoyue stopped what she was doing. She clearly remembered that back in the game, the Magic Tower had a line in its description. The Magic Tower contains magic, not skills. So this time's seminar, she had to see it with her own eyes. At that moment in the Magic Tower, a girl was sitting in a corner, looking around nervously. She was Clay, a magician of the Magic Tower. Just then, a player playing around nearby accidentally tripped, but Clay acted like nothing happened, not even flinching. It turned out there was a magic wall in front of her. It was an illusion spell cast by the Tower Master to host the seminar. People without an invitation usually couldn't see it. By now Jessie had arrived at the back of the magic wall. Upon seeing her, Clay excitedly ran over. "Miss Jessie, you're the last adventurer to arrive for the event. After I take you to the Crystal Hall, I'll be heading back." Jessie smiled gently. "Is that so? Would you mind waiting here a bit longer? Because I feel like someone else might need your guidance too." Ever since being reported by the media, Li Haoyue gained a wave of loyal fans. Right now, she was like a goddess to her simps. Even her farts were strawberry scented. As soon as she entered the Magic Tower, a crowd surrounded her. There were autographs, photos, and even gifts, like brown rice-flavored green tea, just to earn a compliment from their goddess. Amid this annoying atmosphere, Li Haoyue tried her best to suppress her irritation, but she couldn't help but want to yell, "Get lost!" To her surprise, her sharp tongue, some were even proud to be insulted by her. She thought, what kind of true fans are these? They're just a bunch of brainless fans. All Li Haoyue wanted was a place to hide. Then she suddenly spotted a wall nearby. Unlike the others, it emitted a faint magical wave. Without a second thought, she ran straight into it. The next second, because she couldn't stop in time, she almost slammed right into Clay. Now this is an illusion spell worthy of praise. She glanced at Li Haoyue from time to time, nervously flipping through the guest list. She was very curious about the man beside her. After all the adventurers on the invitation list had already arrived, though anyone who could see through the illusion wall could attend the seminar even without an invitation. That illusion was a spell set by the Tower Master himself. Even the chief magician struggled to break it. Yet that man walked in just like that. Seeing Clay's blushing face, the dense Li Haoyue looked confused. "What's wrong? Do you have a fever or something?" "And no, it's not like that. It's my first time seeing an adventurer who actually broke an illusion spell. So I think you're amazing. I just want to know more about you. Purely on an academic level, of course. Please don't misunderstand." Li Haoyue ignored the flustered Clay and walked up the steps alone. She soon reached the Crystal Hall, and sitting at the podium was none other than the game's most influential NPC, Malsuru. That's right. When the game descended into reality, many NPCs appeared on Earth as well. Malsuru was known as the youngest chief magician and heir to the Tower of Mages. His immense talent and deep magical knowledge had influenced many other mages. But to players, his lectures were boring and useless. Because to players, magic was just a skill. Terms like interference and exploration that Malsuru used, players didn't get it at all. If it weren't for the quest rewards, most of them would have left already. Seeing the players dozing off, Malsuru spoke up with a hint of frustration. "My disciples, to come to this sacred place of knowledge is the highest honor for a magician. Do you all find this boring? For some reason, the Tower of Mages was summoned into your world. But don't forget, it wasn't just the tower. New update events came along too. Many of you don't understand magic, just like we don't understand your science. But to restore peace to the world, we must work together. So today's lecture will focus on science." As Malsuru spoke, a flame with a magic circle ignited in his hand. "Everyone, this is a new type of ignition I created using science and magic. I call it fusion." Those words instantly sparked interest from the players. Combining science and magic? Was this the start of a new quest? But just as everyone was whispering, a voice suddenly interrupted Malsero. Excuse me, Chief Magician. In your earlier demonstration, I noticed there may be some flaws. So I ask, what are your thoughts on that? The Chief Magician had spent months developing that spell, but the man had just glanced at it and cast it instantly. The proud Malsero originally didn't want to accept Li Haoyue's criticism, but when he saw her cast the exact same spell as his, he was completely stunned. Magic and science are fundamentally different fields, so in merging them, you caused a split, which resulted in those flaws. Though Li Haoyue said this aloud, in her heart, she admired Malseru's fusion method. She hadn't expected that he had added the concept of centripetal force from physics into his interference process. Though the execution was still rough, the result was impressive. Adding centripetal force to the ignition greatly reduced mana consumption. Malseru's research had undoubtedly opened a door for her. At that moment, Malseru suddenly looked seriously at Li Haoyue. Hello, adventurer. Would you be willing to join my research? As soon as he said that, a quest notification popped up for Li Haoyue. Malseru's research to reach a higher level of magic. He wants to invite you to join. Seems attending this seminar really was the right call. Li Haoyue accepted without hesitation. Meanwhile, the Yusla Islands were already packed with people, bikini girls on the beach, and alluring treasures, attracting guilds from all over the world. In addition to that, even rare NPCs showed up on the islands, including the Knights of Lionheart, Silver Mercenaries, and the Adventurers Alliance. Staring at the crowded beach, Baruchi looked extremely sour. Damn it. Even the NPCs are joining the competition now. Shit. Life just keeps getting tougher. Just then, a subordinate who had gone to the seminar called in. Boss lady, something big just happened. Li Haoyue confronted the chief magician during the seminar. Things are a complete mess here. I'll have to meet up with you all later. Narration. Baruchi almost burst out laughing. Hara, went head on with the chief magician. I knew he was nuts the moment he refused to share his tea. That guy's a total maniac. Hara, so? What happened? Did he get beaten up real bad? No, boss lady. The chief magician acknowledged him. He not only bowed to him, he even gave him a quest. Because Li Haoyue got a new quest, everyone went wild. At that moment, inside the chief magician's office, Malseru sat respectfully across from Li Haoyue. Mr. Haoyue, if you need any research materials, just write them down. Don't be shy. I'll support you however I can. Upon hearing that, Li Haoyue's grin nearly reached her ears. Don't be shy, huh? Well then, dear NPC, I'll gladly fleece you. NPC loot farming. Until there's nothing left to farm. A player who can get an NPC to prepare epic gear for her. Now that's next level gameplay. To get Li Haoyue to help with research, Malseru let her list any tools she needed freely. Such a golden opportunity to milk an NPC for gear. How could Li Haoyue possibly let it slip? She wrote down a whole list of mana regeneration items. Once that was done, Malseru was summoned to the top of the tower. He bowed respectfully before a statue. Noble 5-star elder, what instructions do you have for me today? A moment later, the statue spoke in a deep voice. We heard you invited an adventurer to collaborate on research. You do know the tower must not interfere with adventurers' affairs. A magician of your caliber. Why would you break our rules like this? Malseru raised his head resolutely. Because adventurer Li Haoyue has a deep understanding of magical theory, and seems to have overcome the disconnect between magic and science. His magical abilities will surely benefit this world. We can't be bound by outdated rules. Before Malseru could finish, the statue cut him off. Chief Magician, don't forget our principle. Free will, self-responsibility. We will respect your choice in this matter. But remember, you must take full responsibility for your decision. That's all for today. You may leave. Malseru left the room with a gloomy expression. Those old geezers can't even face reality. What right do they have to speak of responsibility? As Malseru silently complained to himself, Clay suddenly called out from behind. Why are you up here on the top floor? I was just preparing the supplies Li Haoyue requested. I was about to go find him. I see. Then hand them over to me. I happen to have business with him too. A short while later, Malseru laid out the items Li Haoyue requested on the table. They were mana regeneration tools. Just one of them would cause a stir if sold on the market. But Li Haoyue looked utterly unimpressed. Damn it. Do you really think I can equip level 500 plus gear right now? Malseru noticed the displeased expression and asked if she was dissatisfied. Li Haoyue picked up a necklace and spoke with a gloomy face. Do you really think these items match my current level? Malseru was taken aback. Then he let out a long sigh. I apologize. I underestimated you. When you asked for mana regeneration items, I should have realized. You really knew about its existence. Li Haoyue was internally cursing. What the hell is this? You're the one overestimating me. Malseru then took out a box from his robe and placed it before Li Haoyue. Hexagram brooch. Level 1. Unlocks at level 100. Restores 10% of consumed mana when casting magic. Li Haoyue only saw its effect. She didn't notice it was part of a set, but the brooch's effect alone was enough to satisfy her. I'll take this brooch then. I knew it. A remarkable adventurer like yourself would definitely know what it is. Li Haoyue was still bewildered. This thing looks so plain. Is it really that amazing? As she was wondering that, Malseru suddenly changed tone. As you said, my exploration process was so for now, we can't begin formal research. As he finished speaking, a system notification appeared. Wait for Great. So the quest can't proceed because the NPC's not good enough. In that case, we'll talk again once you overcome your issues. Thank you for your understanding. Adventurer Li Haoyue. If we work together, we just might change this mage tower. The island full of treasures naturally attracted waves of players. It had been some time since Yesla Island opened. Most players had already arrived. As a rising star, Li Haoyue was the center of attention. Everyone wondered if she would be the last one to show up. But her growing fame irritated some people. Kimber, the most notorious man since the game came to life, surrounded by goons who'd stop at nothing to achieve their goals. It said a truckload of players went missing or died after entering rifts with them. Seeing the live stream chat praise Li Haoyue nonstop, Kimber lashed out, telling her not to get too cocky. His provocation only fueled more speculation. Would Li Haoyue really go to the island? Meanwhile, Li Haoyue was leisurely having afternoon tea at the Mage Tower. As for going to the island, she couldn't care less. Sure, the name Treasure Island sounded tempting, but at only level 134, how could she possibly survive a zone that requires at least level 350? More importantly, there wasn't a single demon-type monster she could fight in there. That's right, even the weakest monster, the Sand Scorpion, was level 390. Just hearing that number was enough to stress her out. If there were even one demon monster, she might have given it a try. As Li Haoyue was thinking this, a system pop-up suddenly appeared. Investigate the giant crocodile of Yesla Island. Li Haoyue was stunned. Giant crocodile referred to the embodiments of pride, wrath, gluttony, lust, sloth, and greed, the primal sins. Why would one be on Yesla Island? And why would this damn system assign such a quest? She only barely survived the vampire count last time. Is this system trying to get her killed now? Even if it's a class quest, she should at least think it through first. As Li Haoyue pondered, her rebellious body suddenly spoke out. If there is evil, then it must be purged. No hesitation. We depart at once. Watching herself instinctively grab tea leaves, Li Haoyue was about to break down. Bro, Yesla Island's a tropical zone. At least change into something cooler. Not long after, Li Haoyue landed on Yesla Island under the live stream of countless streamers. Feeling the scorching sun, she was already on the verge of collapse. You get to control my body, but I'm the one who takes the blame for your justice. What the heck kind of noble character is this? Li Haoyue is inwardly complaining. Suddenly, an evil aura drifts and rolls in. The influence of the great evil has covered the entire island. Activate skill. Predator-prey relationship. Li Haoyue slightly frowns. The influence of this great evil is actually stronger than a demon's. As expected, it's not on the same level. Perhaps this island itself is the great crocodile. But speaking of which, the infinite activation mode of predator-prey relationship is pretty damn cool. Heh, your posture, groveling at my feet, is truly pleasing. Great crocodile, I'm growing more and more intrigued by you. The king has arrived. All irrelevant people, clear out. Ever since Li Haoyue set foot on Treasure Island, she has been cautiously searching alone for something. The viewers in the live stream saw her being so careful and thought she had some hidden strategy. However, the seemingly calm and composed King Bee is actually panicking like crazy on the inside. The reason she's so cautious is that she just wants to find the lowest level monster to test her firepower. But as luck would have it, a burst of combat noise rapidly approaches her. Before Li Haoyue can react, two figures appear not far from her, and they are facing one of Treasure Island's highest level monsters, a level 430 emerald tiger. Its casual roar alone can cause a stabbing pain like a knife. The two small fries fighting it are already thinking of retreating, and at that moment, the small fries suddenly spot the upright Li Haoyue. Oh my gosh, isn't that the legendary Miss Haoyue? Li Haoyue looks exasperated. Damn it, I just wanted to test the waters with a scorpion. These two idiots actually brought the highest level monster to me. This beast is only 10 levels below a vampire count. Isn't this going to be the death of me? Though that's what Li Haoyue is thinking, she still puts on a step aside. Your boss is here attitude. With a wave of her hand, the terrain around the emerald tiger instantly changes. No matter what, restricting the enemy's movements first is always the right move. After sealing the emerald tiger's mobility with the terrain, Li Haoyue raises her hand and summons a new type of hidden flame. Ever since she learned this tech magic from Malorce, she has never tested its power. Today, she'll use this monster to break it in. Blazing flames instantly strike the monster. The shockwave from the explosion blinds everyone. As the firelight gradually fades, the emerald tiger's body has been reduced to a pile of charred remains. You are recognized for your contribution to slaying the emerald tiger. You have leveled up. Li Haoyue remains calm on the surface, as if this was all expected. But inside, she's screaming, holy crap, this hidden flame that Malorcelu taught me is just. But speaking of which, as the protagonist, no one minds if I cheat a little, right? At this moment, the two small fries nearby are dumbfounded. Is this what a badass life looks like? Meanwhile, on the other side, Shillage, ranked third on the player leaderboard, is furiously raging. As the president of the Second Sun Guild, he devised a strategy of splitting into small groups for multi-front combat, all to seize more loot among the many guilds. But he never dreamed the monsters here would be so tough. With their forces spread thin, their progress is less than half that of others. Just as he was about to issue a regroup order, his subordinate suddenly received a call from a small team. The call came from the two small fries Li Haoyue had just saved. Looking at the sky ablaze with firelight, Shillage feels ashamed. It's all because of my wrong decisions that everyone is suffering. Stop holding on. Hurry and regroup with us. No need, boss. You should come regroup with us. The path here has been cleared. Li Haoyue. She single-handedly swept through this place. Shillage is still in shock when another small fry from the guild runs over. Boss. News from the Research Society. Li Haoyue received a mission from the chief mage and became the first person in history to have a private office in the Magic Tower. One bombshell after another makes Shillage break out in a cold sweat. A guy who's buddies with NPCs is no small fry. Notify all analysis departments. I want every single detail about Li Haoyue reported to me, word for word. At the same time, the cheating Li Haoyue is immersed in her get-rich-quick dreams. Killing monsters can drop unique grade item materials. Normally, these are worthless, because there's no crafter who can use them. But if I use magical research as an excuse, and commission the Magic Tower's crafters to process them, wouldn't that be raking in money while lying down? While she's basking in this joy, a bad premonition surges in her heart. The air in front of her turns chillingly cold, and at that moment, a system pop-up suddenly appears. Li Haoyue is still stunned when the ground around her starts violently shaking. Almost everyone on the island feels this anomaly. Then, a red alert appears before everyone's eyes. The Asura archipelago is being eroded by greed. Seeing this alert, everyone is stunned. The Asura archipelago is a newly added region. Its nature is completely different from the rift, but now it's showing a collapse progress. What the hell is going on? Looking at the rising collapse progress, Li Haoyue seems to understand. Could it be that humanity's despicable desires awakened you? But speaking of which, it's not me who awakened it, right? An island full of treasures, swarming with players fighting for riches. But taking the treasures will awaken the greed demon. And your task is to prevent the demon's revival. In this situation, how do you stop the players scrambling for treasures? The moment the collapse progress appeared, all the players on the island went wild. The Asura archipelago consists of 10 small islands. Just as the Radiant Guild was conquering one of them, the collapse progress appeared, and one of the bars in the collapse progress lit up. This means, once all 10 islands are fully conquered, the collapse progress will be maxed out, and the Great Crocodile will awaken. However, the players, consumed by greed, don't care about this at all. They just want to grab one more treasure before the collapse. Watching the players rush into the island, Li Haoyue knows full well. Her words alone can't possibly stop everyone. Looks like there's only one way. I'll just have to claim all the treasures myself. At this moment, on another small island, the Radiant Guild, having just completed their conquest, also received the collapse progress alert. No one who came here is a fool. Everyone knows. It's because they took the treasures from that this situation arose. Red-haired sis and beard bro think this bar is like a countdown. They should speed up and keep plundering treasures. However, President Los is thinking about something else. He asks the two about Jesse's side if there's any more news about Li Haoyue. Beard bro doesn't understand why the president brings her up. Red-haired sis says, Jesse's eyes light up whenever Li Haoyue's name is mentioned. They practically sparkle. She seriously suspects they're flirting. But Los sharply changes the topic. Li Haoyue's rising momentum is very threatening. If you face her, are you confident you can win? The two are instantly thrown off by the question. President, you're not joking, right? That Li Haoyue hasn't caused us any losses. Besides, if you target her, Jesse definitely won't be happy. Los scratches his head and sighs. But just as he's about to say something, the collapse progress on the system panel suddenly increases by another bar. It's the World Domination Guild. I heard they just got some treasures. Hearing this, Los slowly stands up and stretches. Alright, it's time to move. Otherwise, the treasures will all be taken. On the other side, Li Haoyue, obsessed with showing off, is driving herself crazy. What the heck does claim all the treasures mean? Don't you know that maxing out the collapse progress will awaken greed? How is this any different from walking into death? Suddenly, Li Haoyue stops in her tracks. In front of her is a fully armed knight squadron, and they are none other than the NPC Lion Star Knights. Isn't this Knight Commander Harkin Kinsguard? Insolent. Why aren't you saluting the commander? Before Xiao Gaga could finish, Harkin interrupted her. May I ask the adventurer's name? I am Li Haoyue. I never expected to meet you here. Harkin chuckled. Suddenly, she stared wide-eyed at Li Haoyue's brooch. It was actually a hexagram. At that moment, a flash of light came from behind Li Haoyue. He swiftly dodged. A meteor crashed down beside him, kicking up a thick cloud of smoke. When the dust settled, Harkin looked toward the meteor's origin. What? It's the island lord. Before the group, a giant turtle roared skyward. She was the lord of this island. The level 450 Golden Healing Fong Giant Turtle. Golden Healing Fong Giant Turtle, level 450, with wings that can launch meteors, and a massive body capable of crushing an entire army. Her appearance sent the Lion Star Knight Order into a panic. Commander Harkin immediately ordered full alert. However, as the island's ultimate protector, the Golden Healing Fong Giant Turtle wasn't easily defeated. Her roar disrupted the knight's formation. Her colossal foot loomed over the adjutant's head. In this critical moment, the man acted. Li Haoyue waved his hand, summoning a giant boulder out of thin air, blocking the turtle's foot. This This saved the adjutant from certain death. Yet, the seemingly indestructible boulder was easily crushed by the turtle's slight pressure. Li Haoyue's brow furrowed. The wall he summoned was reinforced to maximum hardness and consumed a ton of mana. Without the brooch, he'd have passed out already. This boss wasn't as easy to handle as Xiao Gaga's earlier foes. At that moment, Harkin stepped forward. Adventurer with the magic tower brooch, I sincerely thank you for aiding my knight order. If you continue to help us, the Lion Star Knight Order will swear on our hearts to never forget your great kindness. Hearing this, Li Haoyue was inwardly thrilled. That's exactly what I was planning. Thus, Li Haoyue accepted the Knight Order's invitation. Meanwhile, this scene was captured by Li Haoyue's online fame skyrocketed once again. Even with the Knight Order's help, the giant turtle remained a formidable boss. Harkin issued a charge command, and the Knight Order rushed forward in a swarm. The adjutant glanced at Li Haoyue during the charge, though grateful for his earlier rescue. She was shocked that the commander would swear on her heart for him. That was an oath reserved solely for royalty. The adjutant couldn't fathom why the commander made an exception for this man. Likewise, Li Haoyue didn't dwell on it. His focus was entirely on the boss. At first glance, the Knight Order seemed ferocious, but on closer inspection, they were just tickling the boss. Li Haoyue was nearly speechless. In truth, the Lion Star Knight Order wasn't weak, but the limited space meant only a few could engage the boss, leaving most NPCs stuck in the back, waiting. At that moment, the system sent a notification. The Yesla Archipelago's collapse progress has reached 50%. Li Haoyue's brow furrowed. Players were collecting treasures faster than he expected. At this rate, players would soon reach his island. He needed to find a way to unleash the Knight Order's full strength. Just assisting NPCs to kill a boss led an entire NPC army to kneel in submission to him. Just moments ago, the system notified that the island's collapse progress hit 50%. Li Haoyue knew time was running out. With his mana nearly depleted, he had to rely on the Knight Order to maximize these tickling NPCs' strength. He needed to create enough combat space for them. Li Haoyue was brainstorming when the giant turtle let out a roar. Her massive foot slammed into the ground. The next second, the earth began to collapse, lava erupting from below. The Knight Order's NPCs panicked, shouting they had no room to maneuver. This comment sparked an idea in Li Haoyue. He recalled the spatial magic used at the magic tower. Right, there's plenty of rubble right here. Perfect for creating maneuverable space for the knights. With that thought, Li Haoyue shouted, "Harkin, prepare for a full assault." The next second, under the shocked gazes of the crowd, Li Haoyue cast a spatial spell. Chunks of rubble floated into the air, forming a staircase path leading to the turtle's head. The Knight Order's NPCs and the livestream viewers were utterly stunned. But he was already cursing inside. His mana was nearly drained dry, and these idiots were still staring? After a brief moment of shock, Halkan was the first to charge in. The knights rushed across the rubble straight for the turtle's head. The sudden attack stunned the turtle so hard its head dipped low. Under the group's coordination, Hawkins' greatsword struck with force, and the giant turtle boss was slain. But at that moment, a notification appeared before Li Haoyue that left him stunned. Commander Halkan of the Knights gave up his contribution toward the boss kill. Soon, notifications of others giving up their contributions popped up one after another. The screen was flooded with level-up prompts, still puzzled why they would do this. Li Haoyue saw Halkan approaching with his men. The cursed needle you wear was, long ago, a gift from His Majesty to the Magic Tower. We owe you many lives. Please accept our kneeling. From this day on, our Knight Order will stand with the bearer of the cursed needle. Li Haoyue was shocked. He never expected things to develop this way. And just then, a glowing orb appeared before him, radiant and bright. This was the island's final treasure. Looking at the gleaming orb, Li Haoyue was filled with inner conflict. Taking it would awaken the troll, but if he didn't, someone else would. Just as he hesitated, his body instinctively grabbed the treasure. Bro, what are you doing? Can't you think before you act? Li Haoyue was about to break down, but he forgot one thing. When he originally created this character's backstory, he was a noble who treated money like dirt and greed. Li Haoyue was in chaos inside. Damn it, why is my pig brain not working? Meanwhile, in a distant bush, a pair of eyes watched him maliciously. Li Haoyue, you just keep collecting treasures, and it'll be all the easier for me to snatch them at once. That little cursed needle. It actually got the Empire's strongest Knight Order to willingly follow him. If it weren't for the fact that a team interface appeared, Li Haoyue himself wouldn't believe the hexagram needle had that kind of power. Just now, he picked up the island's treasure without a hint of greed. A flash of light. A broken crown appeared in his hands. The island's treasure. A shattered crown. Epic tier. An ancient crown, clearly. Looking at the system description, Li Haoyue was speechless. This piece of junk. Who'd even be greedy for that? But it wasn't a total loss for him. Gaining the Knight Order undoubtedly sped up his cheat-like journey. With their level, they could steamroll the island's mobs with ease. That being the case, on to the next island, quickly. Meanwhile, Kimball, hiding in the bushes, received a message from a comrade. Didn't you say Li Haoyue took the treasure? Why hasn't the collapse progressed? This isn't what you said. And he's with the Night Order too? You sure you can take them? Kimball grinned wickedly. Relax. I already messed with the pier. When they board the ship, with just one move of my finger, Hydra poison will spread across the vessel. Doesn't matter who it is. Once poisoned, they're done for. As for whether he has any treasure, I'll know once he's dead. Suddenly, Lee Haoyue looked straight at him through the telescope. A choking sense of dread instantly consumed Kimball. No way. He saw me. Elsewhere. Halkin chuckled as he walked behind Lee Haoyue. Looks like you've noticed that rat in the distance too. What do you plan to do? Kimball, under Hawkins' gaze, was now frozen in terror. Lee Haoyue tilts her head, lost in thought. Let me think about it for a second. And at that moment, a system notification suddenly pops up. The collapse progress has reached 8 bars. This means, aside from the crown Lee Haoyue obtained, only one treasure remains. Thinking of this, Lee Haoyue speaks calmly. A mere rat. Why bother worrying about it? Let's hurry and find the next treasure. Though I couldn't claim all the treasures, fortunately, I at least prevented the great demon from awakening. On the other side, Jean Bohr, nearly defeated, is panting heavily. Why did she spare me? Was it out of pity? Or because she didn't even consider a filthy rat like me worth her time? Jean Bohr can't figure it out. But right now, he has no mind to think. He has only one thought. To escape. He grabs the walkie-talkie and shouts in panic. I'm out. And so should you. If you want to live, do not mess with Lee Haoyue. Having gambled everything to rob more treasures, Small Fry took out every online loan to buy the Hydra virus. But in the end, all he got was a call to give up. Small Fry can't accept it. He grabs his companions and starts venting frantically. I invested so much money, and now you're telling me to give up? Spit it out. Are you and Jean Bohr teaming up to screw me over? Small Fry's erratic behavior baffles his companions. But what they didn't expect is that he slaughters them all. That's right, burdened by loans. Small Fry is momentarily possessed by the greed demon. If his companions hadn't died so quickly, they might have seen the demon's shadow behind him. But his massacre was entirely broadcasted by a streamer. Fearing for his life, he frantically flees the scene, until he encounters the NPC Adventurers League. Only then does he finally breathe a sigh of relief. At the same time, official media is reporting on the final island's intel. Through the efforts of various factions, 9 of the 10 islands have been successfully conquered. The methods to obtain treasures vary. Some require defeating buffed monsters, others involve solving puzzles. Now, all factions have gathered on the final island. The commentator is passionately reporting the island's situation. Suddenly, his voice cuts off. At the same time, everyone on the island looks in the same direction, shocked. A group of fully armed knights steps onto the island. They are none other than the Empire's strongest knight order, the Lion Star. You must know, Commander Hawkins' level is nearly 200 levels higher than the top players. But what shocks them even more is that leading the knights is none other than Lee Haoyue. Her calm gaze seems to tell everyone, this island's treasure is already hers. Facing the crowd's hostile glares, Lee Haoyue feels the pressure mounting. Damn it. If this keeps up, what if my noob skills get exposed? This crowd will probably tear me apart. But at that moment, Hawkins suddenly lets out a loud shout. The next second, the ground beneath everyone suddenly cracks open. Countless streams of lava burst forth. Some slow-reacting small fries instantly fall into the molten depths. The crowd nervously looks up. A massive carp is leaping into the air from the lava, and it is the final treasure of this island. The giant lava carp. Blazing lava sprays out. The crowd retreats to a safe zone. At the same time, melee fighters switch their gear to throwing weapons. Looking at the carp thrashing in the lava, Hawkins looks ashamed. Miss Haoyue, I'm terribly sorry. Though I confidently said I'd be the sword in your hand, I can't even get close to this carp. Lee Haoyue's lips twitch in surprise. Hawkins, don't worry. A mere fish. I can crush it with a flick of my hand. The giant lava carp, which, with just a wave of his hand, the man, made the well lose the lava it relied on to survive. The lava surrounding the massive well wasn't a skill, but a part of nature itself. To Lee Haoyue, this natural lava was no different from the stones scattered around. When the lava floated midair, everyone was stunned. How could someone so absurd exist in this world? Among the shocked players, Halkin was the first to react. Excellent. Finally, a path to the boss has opened. The well, now without lava, still churned underground. Halkin charged ahead without hesitation. The others quickly followed suit, scrambling to rush forward. But just then, the well suddenly leapt up. Its impact upon landing shattered the surrounding terrain. Though it had lost the lava it needed, that didn't mean it would be finished right away. Everyone cursed loudly. This damn fish sure knows how to put on a show. At that moment, multiple stone pillars rained down. The giant lava well was instantly pierced all over. The scene stunned all the players on site. This was a type of transmutation magic, like turning water into ice. Rapidly cooled lava can turn into stone, but shaping it into spears was another level entirely. Given the system's mana restrictions, no one today should be able to perform such. Yet Lee Haoyue had done it so effortlessly. Lee Haoyue ignored everyone's shock and calmly spoke to Halkin. Halkin, what are you waiting for? With a nod, Halkin charged with his broadsword. With a single slash, he killed the boss. At the same time, all players received the message that the boss had been slain. But due to low contribution, no one but Lee Haoyue received any rewards. Even so, Li Haoyue had drained every bit of her soul energy. Staring at the treasure before her, she slowly reached out her hand. This should be the last treasure, right? But the moment she touched it, a sinister aura suddenly enveloped the entire island. The collapse gauge increased by 1 bar. Li Haoyue was completely shocked. According to her noble persona, taking treasures shouldn't increase the collapse rate. But now an intense demonic aura had emerged. This could only mean someone else's treasure had once again been tainted by greed. That's right. At the Explorers Guild headquarters, countless bodies of comrades lay scattered, and the treasure they once retrieved from the island was now in the hands of that girl, Little Gaga. Greed was corroding her mind. At this critical moment, Li Haoyue arrived with the Night Order, but they were still one step too late. The terrifying aura engulfed the island. The collapse had begun. On this treasure-filled island, a golden palace suddenly appeared, but it held no treasure. It was the lair of the demon of greed. As Little Gaga's mind was overtaken by the demon, the demonic aura flooded the island. All previously tainted treasures were corrupted once more. The collapse of the Yusra Islands had begun. The sudden turn of events stunned everyone. But something even more bizarre followed. 2 giant hands rose from the earth. The 10 original islands began merging under their pull. As they fused into one, a crimson-tailed golden palace appeared in the center. At the same time, Li Haoyue received a quest notification. Stop the resurrection of greed, one of the 7 sins. In addition, the quest to prevent treasure corruption now had a like symbol beside it. This surprised Li Haoyue. Had the quest not failed after all? But before she could figure it out, the ground suddenly trembled. Countless undead soldiers crawled up from the earth. At the same time, the Fishermen's Association outside the island received shocking news. The game updated at this very moment, unlocking a new rift, the Golden Palace. New boss monster added, the 7-year-old avatar of greed, level 650. New elite monster, Sleepless Soldiers, level 500. At this point, the players on the island fall into chaos. You must know, so far, the highest level player is only around level 400. Now, even the small fries are beyond their ability to handle. Facing such a massive horde of undead creatures, Hawken has no choice but to issue a retreat order. But at that moment, Li Haoyue steps up beside him. Hawken, you once swore to be the sword in my hand. Does that oath still hold? Seeing Li Haru's resolute gaze, Hawken feels a surge of surprise. Are you planning to fight? Exactly. We have no choice but to defeat the demon. There's no other way. Li Haoyue's words are like a shot of adrenaline for Hawken. From your gaze, I see not a trace of fear. Knights of the Lion Star, we must honor the oath sworn on our hearts. Assist Miss Haoyue with all your strength. Li Haoyue remains calm on the surface, but is freaking out inside. It's only because the dam system gave her a mission to exterminate the monsters, forcing her to rely on the knight's strength. Luckily, these guys swore loyalty to her. With Li Haoyue's loud cry of attack, the knights charge toward the undead soldiers outside the palace. This scene stuns everyone watching from outside the island. Is this guy insane? Didn't she see the update notes? But what no one expected is that Li Haoyue isn't the only lunatic on the scene. There's also Baruchi leading the and Nan Taiming leading the Jiawen Guild. This protagonist is something else. Even when asking for help, she uses the most domineering tone, facing thousands of undead soldiers with resurrection effects. Among the dozens of guilds present, only Basaka and Jiawen step up to help. But despite the assistance from these 2 major guilds, Li Haoyue's first words are, I order you to wait while I kill the enemies. That single sentence drops the atmosphere to sub-zero. Baruchi, known for her fiery temper, is barely holding it together. I'm only here because I owed you a favor from the rift last time. But what the hell is with that tone? On the other side, Nan Taiming looks equally uncomfortable. Thankfully, his brother sends a timely message, saying this is a golden opportunity to impress Miss Haoyue, which keeps him from blowing up on the spot. But the situation leaves no room for negotiation. The undead soldiers killed by the knights are starting to resurrect. Everyone immediately shifts into combat mode. Unlike Li Haoyue's NPC army, the Basaka and Jiawen guilds have dedicated priest squads who can cast buffs to permanently destroy undead creatures. Seeing this, Li Haoyue gets a bit jealous. She grabs Baruchi, demanding she cast a wave of buffs on her knights. But her tone sounds more like she's saying, I don't have any extra tea leaves for you, but you'd better hand over the buffs. Baruchi is speechless, but while she's stunned, Nan Taiming seizes the moment to chime in. Nan Taiming is definitely the smoothest talker. With the buffs in place, the group's killing efficiency noticeably improves. Nan Taiming sweeps away the enemies in front and takes the chance to approach Li Haoyue. Miss Haoyue, are you satisfied with these blessings? What kind of blessings do you want? Just say the word, and my priest squad is at your service. Nan Taiming barely gets halfway through his words when Li Haoyue cuts him off. No need. I don't believe in gods or any of that nonsense. At those words, Hawken, standing behind, suddenly freezes. Li Haoyue's claim of not believing in gods he had once heard from the lips of His Majesty the Emperor. But at that moment, an accident happens. The castle gates suddenly burst open. A torrent of demonic power surges out, and all that evil energy pours into the stunned Hawken. In that moment, he seems to see his Emperor summoning him. It's over. The strongest NPC ally has been corrupted by the monster. In the instant Hakan is dazed. The greed demon's evil thoughts instantly invaded her body. Memories from the past flooded her mind. It was the final battle she fought while serving her king. But at the moment the war was about to end, a strange energy teleported her and her subordinates to Earth. Now, her mind was consumed by a single obsession, to return to her king's side and become his sword. Harkin's mind was corrupted by the evil aura of the Golden Palace. She mistakenly believed her king was inside that palace. The players behind her became enemies in her eyes. Seeing Harkin's state, everyone was stunned. Li Haoyue was so speechless, he nearly rage quit. Didn't we agree you'd be my sword? How did you get possessed by a demon right at the start? Li Haoyue was on the verge of tears. Harkin's condition was more like mind control, far worse than mere possession. At that moment, Harkin's figure suddenly vanished. Li Haoyue felt a chill down his spine. The next second, a sharp metallic clash rang in his ears. Mr. Haoyue, are you okay? Li Haoyue's brain was practically short-circuiting. Harkin had teleported behind him in an instant. If Nan Timing hadn't intervened in time, this story would have ended right there, while he was still reeling. The Night Order's adjutant was already clashing with Harkin. She struggled to fend off Harkin's attacks, desperately calling her name, trying to pull her out of the greed demon's mind control. But the manipulation of one of the 7 sins wasn't so easily broken. In Harkin's eyes, they were the true demons. A bloody aura erupted from her body. Harkin swung her great sword with force, facing the charging Harkin. Everyone tensed up. As the highest level NPC present, no one doubted Harkin's strength. Without resistance, everyone here would die. In an instant, the guild players and Night Order soldiers all rushed forward. But no matter how many players there were, they couldn't match Harkin's overwhelming power. Harkin raised her great sword and slammed it into the ground. A devastating force spread instantly. With a massive explosion, the area was reduced to ruins. The players and Night Order were left in disarray. But just as they braced for Harkin's second wave of attacks, everyone froze. Li Haoyue was standing in front of Harkin. With a single gesture, he stopped the rampaging Harkin in her tracks. Against the Empire's mightiest berserk warrior, the man restored her sanity with a mere raise of his hand. The onlookers were dumbfounded. Likewise, Harkin was utterly bewildered. She didn't stop because she regained consciousness. In her eyes, only Li Haoyue's figure was clear. Who are you? Reveal your identity, or you'll die by my sword. Li Haoyue was speechless. Like hell I'm saying anything. But when he opened his mouth, he realized he'd lost his voice from shock. So you refused to answer? No matter. I'll just cut you down. Li Haoyue was frantically gesturing now, confusing Harkin even more. What is this guy doing? Suddenly, she saw Li Haoyue place his hand on his chest, the brooch on his chest. Caught her eye clearly. It was the hexagram brooch. Memories flooded back. Harkin fully regained her senses, seeing her snap out of it. Li Haoyue was equally baffled. Sincerity really is the ultimate weapon. Think it's that cliché? Not quite. The real reason Harkin woke up was because Li Haoyue, unknowingly, activated his exorcism consciousness. This process also upgraded his skill. While he was checking the skill's new effects, a sinister demonic aura surged toward him. What the hell is that? Unlike Harkin, Li Haoyue didn't lose his sanity. Instead, he was pulled into the greed demon's consciousness. A man was sitting on the ground, telling the tragic story of his past. Yesla Island used to be a prosperous and beautiful place. Its people were peaceful and very friendly, until one day, a stranger washed up on the shore. After healing him, the islanders let him go. But that kindness only brought endless. The people of Yesla weren't skilled in combat, and blood soon soaked the entire fallen kingdom. That man was the king of the island. In his despair, the greed demon cursed the land, and the man became its avatar. Hearing this, Li Haoyue couldn't take it anymore. Oh, shut the hell up already. You became the greed demon's avatar over pocket change. That's enough. I can't listen to this anymore. The man looked dumbfounded. Pocket change. I lost an entire kingdom. Humph. Money is just fleeting mist. The only thing that can truly be stolen is the light in one's heart. At that moment, Li Haoyue's body jolted, and she immediately escaped the man's consciousness. Alcone nearby was totally stunned. Mr. Haoyue, how did you do that? But Li Haoyue had no intention of answering. She slowly reached out her hand. Be gone. With a deafening roar, the Golden Palace began collapsing under Li Haoyue's restoration magic, until it became nothing but golden rubble. Everyone was absolutely stunned by this godlike move. Insane. He's the biggest monster on this island, standing before endless ruins. Li Haoyue shouted loudly. Greed demon, get out here and die already. She was the first player to openly challenge a demon. After destroying the Golden Palace, her taunting words instantly enraged the greed demon. A monstrous creature covered in eyes and fangs burst out of the ruins. Its evil aura was so intense that just seeing it almost made people explode. It created a suicidal urge in anyone nearby. That's how the undead soldiers around the palace were created. But this fearsome ability was utterly pathetic to a demon hunter like Li Haoyue. Li Haoyue shouted, enough! The demon's evil aura was instantly dispelled. Everyone stared in disbelief at the man. The greed demon bared its fangs. You lowly human. How did you break free from mind control? Li Haoyue looked at him coldly. I used the Vampire Count's orb as an offering to activate the skill, Exorcism Ritual. The Vampire's orb, passive skill, dispels negative effects on nearby allies. As Li Haoyue summoned the sealed artifact, the greed demon let out a piercing scream. Awaken now. Last king of Yesla Island. In a flash of light, the demon's body a monster, through and through. Boom. The crowd went absolutely wild. The visual impact Li Haoyue delivered was far beyond a simple holy shit. At that moment, from the demon's shattered remains, a man knelt before Li Haoyue. He was the same man Li Haoyue had seen earlier in the dreamscape, the last king of Yesla Island. Why am I here? Were you the one who saved me just now, adventurer sir? But at that moment, Li Haoyue couldn't hear a word he said. She was completely surrounded by a flood of level-up notifications from the system. Suddenly, a shocking system alert popped up. Hidden quest. Time left, 9 seconds. Li Haoyue was stunned. She had never seen a quest this short. She quickly opened it to check the details. Hidden quest. Kingdom of Yesla. The king, driven to suicide by despair, still hasn't found a reason to live. Remind him, he is the king. Quest notification. Please bestow the crown upon the king. Seeing this, Li Haoyue finally realized the crown he almost threw away as trash earlier was actually a hidden quest item. Damn, good thing he didn't toss it. Otherwise, this would have been a huge loss. Not in his wildest dreams did he expect a broken crown even dogs would turn down, would make him the savior of Treasure Island. Just moments ago, following the quest prompt, Li Haoyue placed the crown on the last king of the Asura Islands. Asterisk, beep beep, asterisk. Quest conditions fulfilled. Someone has discovered the secret of the Asura Islands. At the same time, players and NPCs around the world received the same notification. Those who hadn't yet found the Golden Palace were instantly stirred up. Li Haoyue looked surprised. What do you mean someone discovered the secret? Are you talking about me? But before he could think it through, the entire island erupted in radiant light. A deafening rumble followed. Everyone looked on in shock. One by one, ancient ruins began emerging from the ground. These were the historical remains of the Asura kingdom. The magnificent architecture left everyone in awe. At that moment, the man respectfully knelt before Li Haoyue. I, Hakuna, last king of the Asura kingdom, greet the savior. As he spoke, a flurry of system notifications appeared before Li Haoyue. You have become the savior of the Asura kingdom. Your relationship with the Asura king has reached its maximum. Your influence in the Asura kingdom has reached its maximum. Authority functions for the Asura kingdom have been unlocked. Li Haoyue was completely dumbfounded. Hakuna respectfully said, Savior, my kingdom and I are eternally grateful for your rescue. May I ask your honored name? I am Emperor Li Haoyue. As soon as he said that, everyone behind him was dumbstruck. As expected of Ironhead Boy, even dares to speak like that to a king. But Hakuna didn't mind at all. I understand, Savior. I believe your name will be remembered for generations. In my moments of greed, it was your words that awakened me. I was ready to perish with the demon of greed, but you saved me. And I want to know why. Why would you help a king who killed all his people by mistake? Is there anything I can do for you? I believe rebuilding the Asura kingdom is the right choice now. Hakuna looked stunned, then quickly became filled with sorrow. Who would follow a king who once betrayed his people? That depends on what you do from now on. To help you regain your pride and atone for your mistakes, I'll help you myself. That's right. Helping Hakuna wasn't Li Haoyue's idea. It was written clearly in the quest prompt. Meanwhile, members of the Second Sun Guild including Little Gaga had arrived. They originally fled during the undead fight in fear. But seeing the emergence of the ruins, they rushed back, hoping to snatch some loot. Running over in a panic, they just happened to hear Li Haoyue say he would help rebuild the kingdom. So one of them immediately pounded his chest, saying the Second Sun Guild would help too. Blondie knew full well this was the perfect chance to get in Li Haoyue's good graces. With a sycophantic grin, he walked up to Li Haoyue and warmly took his hand. Mr. Haoyue, I've heard of your great name for a long time. It's an honor to meet you. We're all fans of yours. But just as he finished his sentence, a chilling killing intent suddenly surrounded him. He looked up and broke into a cold sweat. Holy crap, did I say something wrong?